Nikola Jokic takes on Indiana in the All-Star game. This was a really entertaining game if you love offense. The all-time leading highest score in All-Star game history. And Nikola Jokic, obviously All-Star starter, leading the MVP race. 6 All-Star, and what a season he is having, and got a chance to get rewarded for it. And y'all, there might be a bromance brewing, potential implications for the Denver Nuggets down the road. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about mid-season grades for the Denver Nuggets as well. We got to talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Locked On Nugget. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day. So glad you're here. I've missed you. We haven't talked to each other in the last couple of days, and there's been a lot of really interesting things happening around the NBA, including the All-Star game. We had a great three-point contest that Damian Lillard won. We had a dunk contest, which Mac McClung won while being in the G League. And then, for me, favorite event of the weekend, we got a chance to see Sabrina Ionescu versus Steph Curry in the first ever NBA versus WNBA three-point shootout clash, and it was an instant classic. Y'all, I'm talking about she showed up, she showed out 26 points. Y'all, that would have tied the final score for the winner of the NBA three-point contest. Sabrina is one of the best shooters in the world. Steph Curry wins with a score of 29, topping everybody. And I love the fact that the NBA, that fans who don't watch the WNBA got a chance to tap into how freaking great a lot of these ladies are that represent the WNBA. And Sabrina Ionescu is one of the very best players in the league. But y'all, I'm not going to hold you. Everybody was talking about it. We might get a Caitlin Clark, Sabrina pairing versus like a Dame and Steph Curry next year. I don't know who they're going to bring out. The NBA and the WNBA got shooters everywhere. And like Sabrina said to close out that night, shooters shoot. If you can shoot, you can shoot. And I can't wait, man. This is going to be a really, really special occasion, hopefully, for years to come for the NBA as the NBA continues to recognize the women who are carrying the game to higher places than it's ever been. Women's sports is in a better place than it's ever been. In a better place than it's ever been. And I really wanted to make sure I touch on that because I loved it. It was a huge moment for the NBA and for sports as a whole and the WNBA, y'all. So look, Nikola Jokic, baby, played in the All-Star game. Didn't do bad. He didn't do bad. I think relative to expectations, I would say it went pretty well. We didn't really know what to expect simply because Joker typically hasn't taken the All-Star game super serious. He hasn't. But yesterday, I can't say that he took it more serious than ever, but it was a lot of fun. I'm going to say it was a lot of fun because we got a chance to see Joker kind of get a chance to be the Joker that we used to know of old. Y'all know the one that didn't have to like carry for a championship and have to like put up MVP numbers. And on top of this too, he's not leading a franchise in that moment. Now, obviously he's representing well, but y'all, the Eastern Conference scored 211 points yesterday. First time anybody broke 200, and they scored 211. And again, it's not like the West didn't score. The West scored 186 points themselves. And Nikola Jokic yesterday, 13 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. That's his best All-Star game performance that we've seen in all the years that he's been going, it feels like. And he had a really, really great play with somebody we're going to talk about in a minute, where they were passing the ball back and forth to each other. Jokic gets the ball last tip over the back of his head. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets a dunk. By the way, shout out to Shai. Apparently got married last week, maybe on Valentine's Day as well. So shout out to him, man. It was a fun and entertaining game. Kevin Durant had 18, 5, and 5. LeBron James, just 8 points, only played 14 minutes, had a little bit of an ankle injury that he's been going through. Shai Gilgeous had 31.6 assists, 4 rebounds. Luka had 7, 7, and 7 yesterday. And then Karl Anthony Towns, y'all, off the bench, 50 points and 8 rebounds and 3 assists. Karl Anthony Towns was going crazy. Steph Curry had 16 points, 8 assists, and 16 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds. Devin Booker, 15 points. Paul George, 13 points. The scoring was all over the place. The Eastern Conference, though, bro. Giannis had 23 points. Jason Tatum had 20, last year's Finals MVP. Tyrese Halliburton in Indiana, 32.6 assists and 7 rebounds. And then Damian Lillard, player of the game, all-star MVP. He had 39 points, 6 assists, and 3 rebounds. And he had 2 half-court three-pointers made. 2 half-court three-pointers made for him, and it was really a freaking great game from Dame. Really exciting stuff for him. Paolo Banchero, first All-Star game, 6 points. Scotty Barnes, first All-Star game, 16 points. Jalen Brunson, first All-Star game, 12 points. Tyrese Maxey, first All-Star game, 10 points. Now, this is what I'll say. One of the great things about this game was when they take pictures before the game, they take pictures with everybody. Everybody's there. They're all in their jerseys, and you get a chance to see who exactly makes up each team. And what was so dope about it was, y'all, if you look at the All-Stars on the Western Conference side, y'all, it wasn't like no little All-Star team. It wasn't like a team that just has some somewhat great players. On that team, you had Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Anthony Davis. You had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You had Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker. That's incredible. But then you had Luka Doncic. You had Kevin Durant. You had Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and LeBron freaking James. People were speculating, is this the most talented team ever in All-Star game history? Is this the most talented era of Western Conference basketball players ever? Because if you put up this picture, LeBron, Steph, Durant, Jokic, and Luka, and then you got the young guns coming up. You got AD and Kawhi, and then you got the young guns coming up with Shai, Anthony Edwards. Like, dude, man, this All-Star team was loaded. And it was so dope to see a bunch of legends play on the court at the same time. Now, like you said, they did not play like it. Now, I joked on Twitter and said that I think the reason why the Eastern Conference is playing as hard as they are and the West is simply not. It's just because the West is like, yo, we got championships to win in a couple of months. It's that simple. Now, I don't actually think that was the issue at all. I think the West just has, LeBron's on the team, Steph's on the team, Jokic and Luka. LeBron and Steph are already a little older. Now, Steph was playing, Kevin Durant was playing, but like they're a little older. All three of those players are 35 and up. Steph's going to be 36 this year. LeBron's going to be 40 later this year, just turned 39. Kevin Durant is going to be 36 at some point this year, I think. And then you got Jokic and Luka. And I don't know if y'all know this. Jokic and Luka, they are not going to play crazy in an All-Star game. That's just not their bag. They've never been that way. I doubt we're going to see a masterclass from Luka Doncic or Nikola Jokic in the All-Star game. I just don't. And Jokic is the best player in the world. Luka is arguably having the best regular season in the NBA right now. Him, Jokic, or Shai having the best regular seasons in the NBA, having the best team impact and impact on winning in the NBA. But just where they are currently, they don't have the games that like kind of have that going for alley-oop dunks and like crossover hedgy tween. Now, Luka got that a little bit, but Luka just doesn't really care to put that in his bag a lot. But, man, Luka got hung. He tried to alley-oop to himself. They got hung right on the rim, and it was just one of the funniest moments of the game. Jokic had this little fake tomahawk he was going to put up that he led into a finger roll. I mean, it was just fun. Like, it was fun to see them play, and it was just fun to see the Western Conference All-Stars. They were just there to have a good time. And then the Eastern Conference, like I said, man, they were going ham. Dame Lillard, Steph Curry, Tyrese Halliburton, shooters everywhere. Devin Booker. I think for me, what this shows more than anything else, the NBA is more talented than it's ever been. Like Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Brunson, and they're probably maybe the 2 worst all-stars, Karl Anthony Towns, the 3 worst all-stars, and they're all freaking great players. They're all freaking great players. And I think the thing is like the NBA is just more skilled and athletic than it's ever been before. So, y'all, in segment 2, we're gonna talk about Jokic and Luka, man. This might be a little interesting, y'all. They got really close. They've been close, but there was so much film and footage and pictures from them together. And I have a question: does this impact the Denver Nuggets' future at all, y'all? But y'all, we're gonna be back in segment 2 for more Locked On Nuggets. Oh, no matter what kind of work you do, how you communicate is key. All the emails, reports, and presentations are equally important to the collaboration needed to get things done, and Grammarly can help. Grammarly is your AI writing partner to help you communicate more effectively and efficiently so you can make a bigger impact, excuse me, at work or school. Now, here's the thing. It's AI technology is here. Grammarly can be really helpful in helping to put some of those notes that you need to put together for meeting, putting together the information and content behind why you need projects done a certain way. Now, the great thing is 96% of Grammarly users report that Grammarly helps them craft more impactful writing. You want your writing to have more impact on the people around you, the people you're working with. You want it to be more clear and concise. Grammarly can help. You can save time of one clip and go from editing drafts in hours to seconds. And 93% of professionals using Grammarly Premium report that it helps them to get more work done. And Grammarly is the gold standard of responsible AI with 14 years of experience and just about every IT certification under the sun. So make a bigger impact at work with Grammarly. Sign up and download for free at Grammarly.com/podcast. That's GRAMMARLY.com/podcast. Easier said, done. We'll be right back here on Locked On Nuggets. So, y'all, we're back here for segment 2 of Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. I haven't seen y'all in a couple of days. I miss y'all. Hope y'all having a great time. We haven't had a chance to watch the Denver Nuggets in quite a few days. They got a few more days of rest, and then they'll be back this week with really the last stretch of the season. We're going to talk about the first half in a little bit, and then through the rest of this week, we're really going to get into some expectation stuff for the Denver Nuggets for the rest of the year, the last 27-game stretch of the season, y'all. But, y'all, Jokic and Luka, I'm telling y'all, man. And the funny thing about it is that everybody saw it and everybody noticed it. Everybody noticed it. Jokic and Luka, they have one of the closest relationships of probably anybody in the NBA. There's obviously the Balkan connection. There's a European basketball connection. They speak similar languages. They understand each other. Jokic is obviously here in Denver doing big things, best player in the world conversations. Luka, 25 years old, moving into best player in the world conversations. He has been a great playoff player throughout his career. Luka has one of the best skill sets of any player that we've ever seen. He's a talented offensive player. He's going to go down as one of the best players of all time. And you could already say he's having one of the best starts to his career ever. And the two of them are the respective leaders of their franchise. Luka, now he played next to another all-star level player in Kyrie Irving. Jamal Murray for Denver is an all-star level player as well. Now, they never get a chance to see each other except for when they play versus each other, which is about 3 or 4 times a year. And then obviously if they would have played in the in-season tournament at a later day, all that stuff. But then you also have the fact that they play with each other in the All-Star game. And I think for those two both, man, they have a very special connection that makes it to where they are both kind of like kids around each other. I mean, you saw them in the press conference. You know, Jokic is pouring water on Luka's back, and he's apparently swearing in Slovenia, I believe. And then you saw them on the court. Luka's throwing one of the mini balls at the back of Jokic's head. They're playing knockout together, or some places they say bump, apparently. And they're playing this game, and they're just doing everything. And I think the question rose, would Jokic and Luka, would that be a good pairing if the Nuggets were ever to make it happen? Now, here's the thing. The answer is yes. If those two played together, they would be a terrific pairing. They'd be one of the best pairings ever. And the reason is because they would adjust each other's game to make it work. And Jokic doesn't need to hold the ball. Luka definitely needs to have the ball in his hand. But Jokic and Luka pick and roll, Luka DHO, like them surrounded by defenders and shooters, all of it put together, they would be a spectacular duo. And I think like it's fun to hypothesize to see if they would actually be able to do it or not. But I really do think, man, the All-Star game, even though the defense wasn't there, absolutely, even though it wasn't super competitive or competitive at all, no qualms. But I think what it does show is that there are just relationships that are very meaningful to these people that are the players. And when they get a chance to be around each other, I think you get a chance to see what makes basketball such a cool sport is when they are playing and they were playing, pitch back and forth with each other with the ball, then it ends up in Shay's hand. Or if they're playing and they're like Jokic is doing a fake dunk, Luka is halfway attempting to do alley-oop off the backboard to himself. And they just have a lot of moments, man, that just make it known that at the end of the day, these are human beings and they're trying to like just play a game that they love and they want to do it with people they really care about, which is why when players want to team up, I know fans get really frustrated about it because it's like tilting the balance of power. And I know the league also feels a way about it, but the league benefits from it. So you got more eyes on those teams than ever, and the money goes up. So obviously they support it monetarily, maybe not for a competition standpoint. But I think what this just shows is that there's just such a humane side to all of this, man. And I think it was just so fun to watch. Now, let me ask y'all this question. Because a lot of people have a lot of dissenting opinions about the All-Star game. Do you truly care about the product of the All-Star game? I think it would be nice, me personally, to see them be more competitive. I think it would be nice in the fourth quarter to see everybody kind of go at it like you did a couple of years ago when you had Jared Allen in there for Nikola Jokic. And remember when Nick Wright, brought up that whole little run where he was like, oh, well, how is the best player in the world getting subbed out for defensive minutes for Jared Allen when they needed to get a stop? They put Jared Allen in and all this other stuff. Obviously, he let all that go because now Jokic is an all-time great to him, one of the 20-25 for him best players of all time. And Jokic is on pace to maybe do another great run again for back-to-back seasons. But a lot of this is the players see this as a break. Anthony Edwards talked about this. LeBron James talked about this. If there were going to be real changes made to the way the All-Star game is played, then that's a larger infrastructural discussion about the parameters of the All-Star game. As Nick Wright brought up today, as Chris Broussard so eloquently brought up today, then first things first, is that when you are at these events, you got media responsibilities, you got community responsibilities, you got commercial responsibility. You're doing things all the time. You got evening responsibilities for NBA-centric parties or events or dinners. And then on top of that, you're around your friends that you never see, and their families are all here. So we're going to do stuff together. And then you want to just experience fun and go out into town. You're in Indianapolis. There's so many different things that lead up to these games that I think sometimes it's really difficult for players to go from we're going hard every day of the year to getting a 7-day break. There's only 24 of us here, and then 2 coaching staff, and then their respective training staffs are there. And then the NBA front offices or media, they're all like the people that make up the New York, the front offices, all that stuff, the NBA folks, they're there. But the coaches are on breaks. The training staff or other teams are on break. All the other players in your team, they're all on break. So I think some of this is the players just feel like, why would I go out and give maximum effort when I know that the last 29 to 27 games of the year are going to be a dogfight, especially if you want to win a championship. You got these 27, and then you got to play through the playoffs. And I know the Nuggets, they're looking to win 16 games in the playoffs again. So I think for Jokic, especially, I think this is just a time to where like you could just let your hair down a little bit and relax. But I also understand from the fan point of view, if you buy All-Star game tickets, you tune in for the All-Star game, you're buying jersey, you're buying memorabilia, you want to see these players be competitive and you want to see them lean into the game. I just think personally, one of the incentives that I suggested, I think would be interesting, the MLB rule. When the MLB said that whoever won the All-Star game for the American or National Conference, you got home field advantage in the World Series. And I think for the Denver Nuggets and for other teams that are making NBA championship runs, the incentive would be that if you win this game, West versus East, you get home court advantage in the NBA Finals. Now, some of that was, well, how is that fair to the number one overall seeds? I agree. But we saw this last year. You have no idea who's going to end up out of your conference. The Miami Heat were not projected to make it out of anybody's ballot for the most part. Maybe some fans or some media members here and there. But the Bucks were the prohibitive favorite, and the Celtics were right after that. And then you had the 76ers. And Miami beat 2 of 3 of those teams. The Denver Nuggets, many people favored them, but a lot of people said the Suns were going to win. The Nuggets were not favored in the Sun series. The Nuggets, people even said were losing to the Timberwolves, let alone losing to the Lakers. So I think a lot of this is you really don't know how things are going to turn out. Now, if the Celtics are the number one seed in 62 wins, and then say in the Western Conference, the New Orleans Pelicans make it as the 8th seed, and they're in the finals. And because the West won the All-Star game, now the New Orleans Pelicans have home court advantage, and that's unfair when they won 49 games to 48 games as opposed to 62 games. I absolutely understand that argument, but I honestly don't see that happening a lot because in the Western Conference, if everybody's healthy, Nuggets, Clippers, maybe Lakers or Suns. I don't know who's picking. You're picking out of that squad, but I think it's going to be Nuggets or Clippers that are coming and representing the NBA in the Western Conference in the finals. And on the other end, Boston, if they're healthy, the Heat, maybe. If the Knicks, maybe. The Bucks, maybe. So, you really just don't know. But, y'all, we're going to give the Denver Nuggets midseason grades here in segment 3 because I actually think there's been a lot of basketball played, and I know that they lost their last 3 games. That's kind of tainted our view of the season so far, but I think all things put together, the Nuggets actually played really well this year so far, y'all. But we're going to talk about that and more in the final segment, Locked On Nuggets. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. Now, the 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and great escape. Class exclusive Google built-in is your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect mid-size crossover for your next adventure. The 2024 Nissan Pathfinder has room up to 8 and expansive cargo capacity and advanced available 4x4 capability. Now, take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or the Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. You can shop NissanUSA.com. We'll be right back here, Locked On Nuggets. What's going on, y'all? We are here for segment 3 of Locked On Nugget. This is your host, Swiper. Thank y'all so much for being here today. And y'all, this is a really interesting point of the season. Now, one of the reasons is that the Denver Nuggets, they're sitting at 36-19. The Denver Nuggets are currently slotted as the 4th seed. They are 3 games out of first. They're a game and a half out of second. So they got some work to do. They're only 3 games up of the Suns and the Pelicans for the 5-6 seed. And out of the gate, the Denver Nuggets are playing the Wizards, the Trailblazers, the Warriors, the Kings, the Heat, the Lakers. They're going to be favored, more than likely, all of those games. And then they got the Suns and Celtics at home, and then the Jazz and Raptors at home for 4 straight home games. So of the next several games, the Nuggets are playing the Wizards at home, the Kings at home, the Heat at home, the Suns at home, the Lakers at home, the Jazz at home, and the Raptors at home. That's going to be 7 games, 7 out of their next, it looks like 9 games. 7 out of the next 10 games are going to be at home. So the Nuggets have an opportunity to put some real, I would say, cushion between them and the next seed, but also to get back up to that 1st seed. Now, a lot of this is they lost games to the Kings, the Bucks, and the Kings in back-to-back games. Definitely super frustrating. But on the season, y'all, they're 28-11 with Jamal Murray in the lineup. That's a 59-win pace. They're playing very well. And I think some of this is obviously you don't love that they struggle, but I think a lot of this is like they have just been trying to deal with injuries. Jamal Murray missing 15 games. They've had to deal with a daunting early start to the year. And then I think, too, they got really fatigued down the stretch of this year. Like when they went into that 3-game stretch with the Kings, with the Bucks, and with the Kings again, they came off of a 3-game win streak, and prior to that, they lost to the Thunder without Nikola Jokic, and prior to that, they had won 2 straight. So they had been playing really well. They were 5-1 in their last 6 prior to that 3-game loss. So I think some of this is how do they find the requisite energy to go on this 27-game run? And what I hope and suspect is that they're going to hopefully be looking to go, I would say, around 18-9, about 18-9 to 19-8 over that last stretch. That's probably what it's going to take to get them to where they are now, to sitting at the top or near the top of the conference. Now, that might sound like a lot, but given how this team has played, they went 21-9 over a 30-game stretch already this season. They went 14-4 over an 18-game stretch so far this season. So it's not as if they haven't done it, but now they have incentive to do it. And again, Jamal, time off. MPJ, time off. Aaron Gordon, time off. KCP, time off. Now Peyton, Christian, Young Guns, Reggie Jackson, time off. Everybody should be locked in and ready. And Nikola Jokic, I've said this before. And this is why, for me, if I gave them a midseason grade, I would give them a B. If B straight is about an 84, that's what I would give them right now. And the reason is because they're 36-19. Nikola Jokic, y'all, whatever, 26, 12-9, really great efficiency, 64% true shooting from the field so far this year after not shooting well the last game of the year and the last couple games. Nikola Jokic is pacing to win his 3rd MVP. He could be potentially the 9th player in NBA history to win 3 MVPs or more. Again, it would be Jokic, it would be LeBron, it would be Jordan, it would be Magic, it would be Bird, it would be Wilt, it would be Russell, Moses. And then I think there's one more that I left out of there. But that's it. Maybe that's 8. Maybe it'd just be 8, actually. I might just be 8. But that's insane, y'all. Like, Joker has a chance to do something truly special. And I hope and believe he's going to play like a madman. Now, maybe the Wizards and Trailblazers game, they'll get really good, efficient games from Joker, and he's not going to dominate those matchups. But the Kings, the Warriors, the Heat, the Lakers, the Suns, the Celtics, the Jazz, they're going to need Joker to play well. Jamal Murray comes out of the gate versus the Wizards and the Blazers. Then he got Steph Curry, De'Aaron Fox, and Jimmy Butler to go head-to-head with. He's going to be locked in and ready to go. All right, Devin Booker's going to be after that, after LeBron. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are coming into Denver. I'm telling y'all, I think that 3-game losing stretch, which is their second of the year, they haven't lost more than 2 games in a row since December, or lost 2 games in a row, period, since December. So I do think that the energy is going to be there. Again, I think a lot of this is they just got so fatigued down the stretch. They had a 6-game road stand that they got demolished versus the Knicks. And again, I think I might have mentioned it on this show, but the Nuggets had the 27th ranked net rating from the Knicks game to the Kings game. It's like a -4, like a -4.5, -5.5 net rating. Their offense sucked and their defense was horrible. But now they got their legs underneath them. They got some rest. I just expect things to be a lot different for them coming out of this break. Again, 7 of 10 games is going to be at home. And then after that homestand, they play the Heat, the Spurs, the Mavs, and the Wolves. And they got a lot of matchups coming up versus the Wolves. A lot of them. There's a lot of home games in here for the Denver Nuggets. So, again, they need to use this time to get back to where they need to be. Jokic and Murray especially. got to take advantage of this moment. You got to take advantage of this. Again, the Wizards, the Blazers, the Warriors, the Kings, the Heat, the Lakers, the Suns, the Celtics, the Jazz, and the Raptors. They're going to be favored every one of those games. Maybe the Celtics game. Maybe the Celtics game. So I'm really excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see what happens for the Denver Nuggets the rest of the season. I'm giving them a B grade for their midseason leading into All-Star break grade. What do y'all think? How good do you think the Denver Nuggets have been this year? What will be the grade that you give them? Y'all make sure that you download these episodes and these shows on Apple iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. That way more people can listen to Locked On Nuggets and we can continue to build up this community, y'all. That's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. I will see y'all on the other side.